everyone. I am Saleen Fernandez, one of the OET aspirant from EduSkills platform. I am immensely overwhelmed to present before you the tricks and tips that are required to crack OET reading part C. As we all know, we have already come across reading part A. I hope the videos what you look into might have cleared your doubts completely. Today we are here to give an hint or the glimpse of part C. So I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this platform. Yes, my dear friends, when we talk about OET reading part C, what we should do? Many questions arise in our minds. Don't worry, be cool. I will tell you what you are supposed to do. You need to skim and scan. Whenever you get the text, first thing that you do is skim and scan. What do we skim for? We skim for keywords. We skim for abbreviations. We skim for numbers. We skim for names. Names could be of the person, maybe could be of the places, or maybe could be of the human body parts. We skim for headings, subheadings, titles, as well as we skim for percentages. Remember, when you want to skim for percentages, and if it is below 10, you will find it in word. But if it is above 10, it will be in numbers. So don't be panic to know where is 2%. Okay? 2 will be written TWO. They don't write 2 as a number. So this much you need to remember. To continue further, we need to skim and search for clues. As I told you already, we need to look for titles, names, headings, subheadings, abbreviations, percentages, and number. I think I made it clear to you. Now you will look for skim for the specific words that are there. That means you need to look for scale. When you have a scale in your text, that is leading you to the answer. So you need to skim for scale, synonyms, chronological expression, time expression, paraphrasing, cause and effect, modal verbs, comparison and contrast. All these things you look for, which will guide you to fetch the answer right away. So I told you there are clues to look for. So let me tell you, because you may be wondering what scale is, what synonym is. So I am here to give you detailed understanding of each of these components. Dear friends, relax and understand what I want to tell you. Scale is nothing but you will get in the text the words like most, all, many, few, a few, some. When these type of words are there in your text, then you need to know that you are approaching the answers. What is synonyms? I told you look for synonyms. Now you see for the killed, there are various other meanings or various other words which sounds the same meaning. So when you get killed in the text, there will not be killed in the question. Maybe the question may show murdered or assassinated or slaughtered or persecuted. But you need to understand these synonyms will fit in which context. Knowing that, you can understand where your answer lies. You look for cause and effect. What is cause and effect? Certain thing causes something. So the cause may be gum makes messes in the classroom, or gum is a distraction. That's a cause. What is the effect? Students are not allowed to chew gum. So what happens? If the student chewing gum, they will make the classroom mess. So because of this effect, the cause is that one. So I think I made it clear to you. So you need to find out this is only an example, but in your text, you may be having other context where the cause and effect will be highlighted. You need to identify those things in the particular text. Then compare and contrast. There will be a sentences in your text which will differentiate the text content as compare and contrast. You have, like for example, when you say different from here, the contrasting words are however, although, on the other hand. And again, this is one type of contrast. You have another that is as more than, less than, on the contrary, as opposed to. All these things are contrast. What is compare? Compare is nothing but you are comparing two things. Like you say, similar to, alike, same as, not only, but also. Then you have as well as, both. All these things are comparing. So I think I made sense what is compare and contrast. Friends, when you see the text, when you skim for the text, if you come across these type of clues, then you know you are nearing the answer. Then there is time expressions. What I told you, the time expressions could be in the present, past, or the future. So once you know what is time expression, you will be able to identify the right answer. If the sentence talks about, if the text talks about past tense, it will be the time expression will be yesterday, last week, last month, last year, so on. If they talk about present tense, there will be today, this week, this month, this year, so on. If they talk about future, there will be a time expression such as tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, in an hour, soon. So identifying this and trying to get the glimpse of it in the text definitely will guide you to the answer. So you need to practice this time expression to identify in the text. Next one is there is a paraphrasing. We always talk about paraphrase, but we do not know what is paraphrase. Those who don't understand what is paraphrase, I have given an example here. You just see the meaning is same, but it is paraphrased. While many governments have taken steps to implement privatization programs, progress has been slower than was anticipated. Progress has been slower than was anticipated. And this is paraphrased. What it is paraphrased as? Although the implementation of privatization programs has been a priority for many governments, progress in the area has not been as rapid as expected. You see, as rapid as, that means slower. It's understood. Rapid is faster. But they have said, if they said not, then it will become a contrast. But they say has not been as rapid as expected. Both para gives the similar opinion or similar answer. You get it. There is no difference in the text. So this is what paraphrase. So what you do is, as you practice your reading test, you take your pencil, underline the words in the question and the paraphrased text in the paragraph. As you do it continuously, you will gain the confidence and you can crack your OET without much difficulty. This is what I talk about paraphrasing. Then we have model verbs. I remember I get training under the guidance of Father Saleen Joseph, and I have watched his videos where he talks about modal verbs and he has given plenty of the examples. But it was like I was in a different world where I was not able to understand what modal verbs is. But as Father insisted, go through the videos again and again, learn what are those. So with that practice, I came to know what is modal verbs. So I felt the need that I should put in front of you so that those who are in doubt will be clarified with this slide. So modal verbs are nothing but we have can, could, may, should, most, have to, might, may, could, can. I request you, after this, you need to go to the slide again and again and try to memorize or try to get to know what exactly the modal verbs and try to find out or try to underline while you practice your reading part C. Definitely, I assure you, you will get 100% in your part C test. Then we talked about chronological order. Chronological order is nothing but the text will say first of all, second, third, then, after that, finally, same time, gradually, eventually. These all words are indicate that these are the chronological order statements. So what you need to know is you need to understand what is this. So my dear friends, I have given the glimpse of what clues are with an example. So definitely you will be identifying these clues in the working text that is given to you as you practice. And once you master over these tricks, definitely you are going to do wonders in your OET reading. No need to hesitate, no need to be tensed. But I am damn sure that you will master over part C if you follow these strategies. Now let's see what is reading subtext part C. You know, in the subtext part C, you have got two long passage of healthcare topics. You need to do careful reading. It may be having 800 words and you are given 35 minutes to complete the task. You need to identify detailed meaning and opinions. And there are 4 option MCQs, okay, that you need to be able to identify and mark, and the time available is roughly 35 minutes. But don't worry, if you master the tricks as I told you, definitely these 35 minutes will be enough for you to master or to complete your task on time. That is what I would like to say. Now we need to know what are the tips that we can inculcate to score the desired scores. So the first tip what Father has given and what I absorbed from his teaching is know the instructions. Why you need to know the instructions? Because instructions are always guiding you to the right task of doing it. So in the part C, you have instructions which will tell you that you have to choose the answer A, B, C or D, which fits best. Here the instruction for you is you need to select the best answer according to the text. Friends, remember, the part or the text or the paragraph what we have in OET is medical related. Do not put your medical knowledge here and write according to the knowledge. What OET expects you is to know what is best here. There may be questions which may be out of 4 options, which 2 options could be a right answer. But we do not want the right answer here, but we want to have a best answer. So you need to get the best answer in your answers. And the second tip is advice to candidates. Remember this. If you are not aware what is it contains, then you are going to mess out everything. So advice to candidate is no thematic links between the two texts. You know, when we worked out part A, from all the questions that 1 to 20, there was a link between each para. Right? If you had seen text 1, text 2, text 3, text 4 had a link there. But in part C reading, you do not have a link in that. Second thing what you have to do is scan the questions for keywords. I told you in the slide what you have to scan for. So you scan for the keywords, try to underline them, try to understand the meaning, then definitely you are going to get the correct answer. Friends, remember we follow Qta method. What is Qta method? I will tell you in the next slide. And remember, since there is no thematic links here, okay, and since it is particular text, you need not wait to get the answer which you are not sure of. Just skip it. So once you skip it, you go to the next question, and when you get the answer, you have a first question answer, you have a third question answer, then definitely you know you have missed out something in between. Then you can come back and scan and get the answer. So don't waste time searching for the answers and your time is out. So I tell you, the advice to the candidate is there is no thematic links. Scan the question for keywords, and definitely very important is to follow Qta method. What is Qta method? I will tell you in the next slide. Just wait. Now the Qta method, I said that is nothing but Q stands for question, T stands for text, A stands for answer. Now what do you search in the text, or what do you find in the text? When the questions are given to you, you read the question. Don't go to the answer. If you go to the answer, you will be confused and you may write down the wrong answer. Or you may write down the right answer but not the best answer. So I tell you, you read the question first, then go to the text. When you go to the text, you find out what is the nature of the text. What the text focus on. Identify the structure of the paragraph, and you need to number the paragraph. So that some questions it says that in paragraph 5, in paragraph 2, unless and otherwise you know which para is, it will be difficult to you. So you need to number the paragraph, which will help you to skim and scan later easily. That is what the Qta method I talked about. The third tip that you should know is know the format. Anything you do, unless and otherwise you know the format, definitely the thing what you're going to do is a hazard. Knowing the format is a key to success. Remember this. Knowing the format is key to success. So what is the format that is followed in part C reading? First one. Question appear in the order of the information in the text. You have a paragraph. The questions comes in sequence. There will not be in between questions. So you need not worry about how to go through. So you know each question follows each paragraph. So question appear in the order. It will not that one question is in first para, second is in last para. No. Every question follows the sequence. Then, question and answer given in progress order. It is good to us that so that we no need to go back to previous. So, as I told you, there is questions which follow the sequence. So definitely the answers also follow in the same sequence so that you need not turn the pages, go back, go front. That is not required. So knowing the format is very essential to score what you desire. I think I made everything clear to you so far. Hoping that I have cleared your doubts, let me move further. Skim the text. As I told you what to be skimmed in the first slides. So just I repeat it that you have to skim the text. Skim the text for what? You need to know the organization of the text, structure of the text, sequence of the text. Quickly look through the text to understand how the text is organized and what it's about. Because the text talk about something. So you need to know what is the important topic they talk about. So once you know that, it's easy to follow further steps. Identify the main idea or topic of each paragraph. Friends, remember, it's so simple that every paragraph must have topic sentence, must have supporting sentence, and must have developing sentence. So topic sentence is the main idea and the developing sentence is the continuation of the idea, and the supporting sentences are nothing but you determine what you said is correct with giving examples and the meaning to that. So once you know the paragraph, once you skim the text, you will come to know what the idea it contains about. Is that clear? Yes. Now, very important in part C is the types of questions that are there. So, we know in part A there are 3 types of questions, but in part C we have 5 types of questions that every student should keep in mind. Okay? Once you know that the types of questions, it is easier to you to answer the questions. The 5 question types that are there are: one is detail, how well you are able to identify the content. Attitude of the author, because the sentences in the paragraph may talk about many people's attitudes, may talk about attitude of some institution, but you need to know what the attitude of the author is. So you need to focus on attitude of the author here. Opinion. What is author's opinion about? Author's opinion we need to focus on. Vocabulary, as understood simple, there will be a word or the word given in the inverted comma and it will be underlined. You need to tell what it refers to. Then the reference, again, reference is nothing but it is you need to find out what the word that is given it refers to. So I think you understood the question types. If no, just let me continue further. You will get the clear idea. In the questions which are of detail, attitude and opinion, what must be your focus? Your focus should be on the views and opinions of the writer or the author. Whenever you look for the question types of detail, attitude and opinion, focus should be on views and opinions of the writer. That is what you need to understand. When you look for vocabulary, vocabulary is nothing but it is a lexical questions. When you look for vocabulary, you need to know a single word or phrase underlined and bold in the question and the text. That is what the vocabulary you are supposed to identify. Then when you talk about the reference, reference is nothing but you decide what the word or phrase relates to. So here also in the reference, a single word or phrase underlined and bold in the question and the text given, but you need to tell what it refers to. That's what we need to understand when we look for the types. But be sure there are definitely two questions are there in the related to vocabulary and reference which you can solve within a fraction of a minute. So it is very simple. As being told the format instructions related to the part C reading, I think we will move on to some questions and solve them or analyze them with the strategy what we learned earlier. So I have taken some of the text which is authentic from the OET and I felt the need that I would discuss those questions here with the understanding of mine what I got from the teachings of Father Saleen Joseph. So let's move on to the question. The question is, the writer places the word controlled in inverted commas to indicate that viruses. Now you see, you need to find out in the question what are the keywords. Okay, you need to find out what are the keywords and what is this. Whether it is a reference, whether it is an opinion, whether it is a attitude, whether they are asking about the details or whether it is asking about the vocabulary. So when you say that the writer places, the writer, you need to know it is nobody else, they talk about writer. Controlled, it is under comma. It is said that in the reference as well as in vocabulary, there will be a word which is underlined and put it in the comma. So the controlled indicate, that means they are telling to tell you what it indicates and they talk about viruses. So as the Qta format, we don't go to the answer now. We got the question. Now let us look into the text. Don't look into the answer. If you look into the answer, you feel confused. So let's move to the text. The text one, it shows about, is Australia prepared for next pandemic? They are anticipating there will be a disease outbreak next. Okay, so how well Australia is prepared for that? So when they talk about, you just go to the text because when we answer the part C, you need to scan. Okay, skimming we do to get the idea, but here you are required to scan it because you need to know whether it's the opinion, whether it is the attitude, whether it is the vocabulary, whether it is a reference. So let's read, my dear friends. Infectious disease continue to threaten. Continue. You see, whatever I said for the clues, you get it here. Continue to threaten global health security despite, you see, despite decades. You see, time expression is there. Advances in hygiene, vaccination and antimicrobial therapies. Population growth increasing. You see, increasing. So whatever I gave you the slides before is very useful. You do the same here. International travel and trade, political instability and climate change have caused rapid changes. You see, rapid changes in human population, wildlife and agriculture. In turn, you see that word had come there. In turn, increasing the risk of infection. Increasing the risk of infection, transmission within and between countries and from animal species. New human pathogens have emerged and previously, you see again there, previously, time expression is there, controlled diseases have re-emerged or expanded their range. So, you know, the clues what I talked about may not be all the clues will be in one sentence or one paragraph, but some of the clues will be there which you have to follow through and get the answer right away. You see, they say here, in turn, okay, increasing, okay, and new, previously, that means the answer is here. So what do they say? They say that the writer places the word control in inverted commas to indicate that viruses have been regulated. No, they don't talk about regulation of viruses here. No. Have started spreading? No, they don't say they have started spreading, but they say is what? They are saying that it is emerged, okay, and expanding, okay. But that if you feel in the sense, if you do not know the structure or the tips, you may take it as I've started spreading, but this is not the answer, because I said you need to look for the best suiting answer, that is I've never truly kept in check. Why do they say? Because if they would have checked it and kept it, it would not have re-emerged it. So re-emerging is means it is not well controlled. So you don't control, so it come back again. So that is what the answer here is. I have never truly kept in check. Understood? So simple, my dear friends. So don't be panic about how to crack OET. It's easy. You follow the strategies. I request you to go to EduSkills platform and learn the videos there. Definitely you will master what you want. Let's move. Knowing that you understood, let us move to the next slide. In the next slide, they say that in the first paragraph, the writer suggests effective responses to disease outbreaks. You see, you have to read the question. Qta method applies here. Question, text, answer. Remember this. And now you look for what they talk about. They talk about, in the first paragraph, writer suggests. It is not somebody else. So suggest. He is suggesting something. On what? There is effective responses to disease outbreaks. They know that there is going to be a pandemic, but how you respond effectively, that is the main criteria where the writer suggests you something. So let's go to the text now. Global community has experienced infection outbreaks of pandemic influenza, Ebola and Zika viruses, and Middle East respiratory syndrome. Planning for an effective response to the next pandemic is complex and requires extensive engagement between public health experts, clinicians, diagnostic laboratory staff, general and at-risk communities, and jurisdictional and federal agencies. Very simple. Why? What are the clues that we look here? The clues that we look here is next pandemic. Next. You see, time expression is there. Next. Requires extensive. You see, extensive. That shows it's very, very important. Extensive. So let's see what are the synonyms here. You see the question, they talk about disease outbreaks. What the text says? Pandemic. Both are same. Disease outbreak is disease which is not controlled. What is pandemic? Pandemic is also same, that it comes just like that where you have no control. We have already experienced corona pandemic and we are into pandemic era. So it's not difficult to understand what is pandemic. Coming to requires. You see the synonym? Requires is needs. So the option gives that. And extensive. Extensive meaning wide scope. Okay. So what is the effective responses? Here, when you read the question, you are looking for who suggests, you see, and you're looking for the controlling idea in the para. The controlling idea is here, effective responses. That means you will respond to the disease outbreak, but how effectively is very important. Involving whom? So, the answer according to this is B. Why? You read here. In the first paragraph, the writer suggests effective responses to disease outbreaks needs to be wide-ranging in scope. That's why it is said extensive engagement. Wide-ranging is nothing but extensive engagement, because they don't deal particular one group. There are many groups are involved. So that is what will tell you what is the answer is. Am I clear to you? So my dear friends, when you get the text, you look for the text for controlling idea. You look for the text for the keywords. and you look in the text what are the clues that are given, and you get the not the right answer, you get the best answer. I think I made it clear to you. Hoping that, let me move on to next question. Next question is, what does the writer indicate about the 2009 influenza pandemic in Australia? You see again, what? Here the important thing is what writer indicate about the 2009 influenza pandemic in Australia. So you need to know what he indicates, what the writer indicates. As we apply the Qta method, question we have read. Now let's move on to the text. The 2009 influenza pandemic tested Australia's capacity to respond to a highly transmissible emerging infectious disease. Public health units and frontline. What is this? Something has gone here. The answer has come here. Sorry. Frontline have reached our states and territories at different times, leading to staggered and varied responses and pointing to clear gaps and challenges in logistics and governance. Although, you see here, although contrasting word is there, higher than usual rates. Higher, again, there is a contrast and comparing words is there, higher than usual rates of hospitalization and intensive care admission, particularly, you see, particularly among the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, people and pregnant women were observed early, again time praise here, in the pandemic. Most cases, you see, there is a modal verb used here. Most cases were mild. As the spectrum of the disease became apparent, the existing plan, which had been based on a Spanish influenza-like worst-case scenario, was modified. So, when you get this text, you have to search for the clues, understand the meaning, and try to attempt the answer. So, I have taken it, some of the clues here, although, higher than, early, most, was modified. So when you take into consideration all this, now you can easily answer the question 9. What does the writer indicate about 2009 influenza pandemic in Australia? It was worse than initially predicted. It has not mentioned that. It was similar to previous outbreaks overseas. Although higher than usual rates of hospital, but they did not say it is not compared there. It demonstrated how unprepared various systems were. No, they don't talk about it. But they definitely talk about that it resulted in changes being made to the method of approach, because modified is nothing but you are changing. Okay, modified is changing, and the approaches, they were using the approach that is Spanish influenza like worst case scenario they were using. So now what has happened is the focus has shifted from containing or limiting the spread of disease at a whole of population level to mitigation strategies targeted. So the modification in the approach is this. What is the approach here? Approach is nothing but they were containing and limiting the spread before. Now they change into mitigation strategies which will target the key risk groups. That is what the answer. So you see, when you see the answer without reading the text, okay, if you read the question and answer without reading the text, definitely the answers will be misleading you. And you will write a wrong answer because you may think it is right, but here our focus is not the right answer. Here our focus is the best answer. Am I clear? Next, let's move to the question number 10. What problem did the review into the 2009 pandemic identify? You read the question here. What problem? There is a problem, okay? Pandemic identify. They have found out something was wrong here. So let's read into the text. In keeping with similar exercises globally, the review of Australia's health sector response to pandemic 2009 identified a need for greater flexibility, you see here, in implementation plan to achieve an optimal response. Improved data sharing and synthesis within and between jurisdictions and internationally was defined as a key priority to enable between understanding of the situation and evolving needs, to advise evidence-based practice, and to inform clear, consistent messaging. The review also recommended development of a set of overarching ethical principles to guide resource allocation in alignment with community expectations and values, and to identify feasible interventions that are not disproportionately disruptive to society. So, failure to engage key population at risk, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people, in preparedness activities before the 2009 pandemic was recognized as a critical deficiency. You see, uh, once you read the text, answer is already there. You need not go searching what will be the answer. No, you did not do it. So you look for the synonyms here. Identify is synonym is recognized. Critical deficiency is nothing but a problem. And we have some of the modal verbs. We have some of the clues that can be time expressions, chronological expressions, or the numbers. You have to look into. I have underlined those. Being done all this in mind, you can get the answer within a fraction of a second. So learn to apply the clues that are given, learn to apply the strategies that is given, and try to understand the format, try to understand the structure, and try to apply all the strategies that is given to master your OET reading part 3. I am 100% sure so far what I have told you, you might have understood. And even if you are not understood, don't worry. We will come back to you in the next video. 11th question. The writer explains that the Australian Health Management Plan for Pandemic Influenza. Don't go to the answer now. Go to the text. The writer explains. Who explains? The writer explains. What? He explains about the Australian Health Management Plan for Pandemic Influenza. So what he explains, you read in the text. Don't go to the answer now. Much. It started only the modal verb. It started in the first only, that is, much has happened since 2009. The Australian Health Management Plan for Pandemic Influenza redrafted in 2014. So what writer explains? You see now. So it is what the plan was there in 2009. It is again modified or they redrafted it in 2014. What it is a nationally agreed plan for flexible and scalable responses in the health sector. It was developed. You see it. Here it gives the reference. Okay. It is a reference. What is it? It is nothing but Australian Health Management Plan. It was developed in consultation with key stakeholders, including state and territory health departments and practitioner groups involved in implementing responses. The plan emphasizes engaging with existing committees and practitioners to provide input to decision making under the leadership of the Australian Health Protection principal committee, the decision key maker in a national health emergency. The plan's recommendations, you see, it's a recommendation. Somebody is recommending, somebody is telling to do something. The plan's recommendations on the use of infection control measures and pharmaceuticals, including antivirals and vaccines, are based on a wealth of national and international evidence emerging from the 2009 experience. From, it is there, 2009, again there is. Corresponding efforts have gone into strengthening the national medical stockpile and ensuring onshore vaccine manufacturing capacity to safeguard against the emergence of novel influenza strain. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is nothing but, in the text, it says that the plan is utilized to make more of the vaccines, so that people will be prevented from getting the new disease. Okay, so the answer right away, it is there as a B. That means the writer explains that the Australian Health Management Plan for pandemic influenza is used as a means of developing future inoculations. Inoculations, you know, as a medical personnel, you know, producing or making the vaccines. So the answer is right away is there in B. Clear? We'll move to next slide. What point does the writer make in the fifth paragraph? Remember, if you do not number the paragraph, you will be searching the paragraph and when you see the questions where you will waste time. So as I told you before, you need to mark the paragraphs, number the paragraphs so that you know where to go when the question is asked. So what the question is? What point does the writer make in the fifth paragraph? In the fifth paragraph, writer had made some point there. He has highlighted something that you should know. Now as a Qta method, question is read, go to the text. However, you see the contrast here. Influenza is not the only threat to Australia's health security. You see the point of writer here. Recent outbreaks of MERS and Ebola and Zika virus infections have provided opportunities for the AHPPC and key stakeholders to practice and refine coordination and communication strategies to prevent, prepare for, and respond to threats posed to Australians. These new threats, these again they refer. These new threats highlighted the need to develop response plans that are agile, can be adapted to known and unknown pathogens and syndromes, and are well coordinated with international responses. So the answer, you get it here. What is the answer here? The answer is A. Why do you say A? Because any plans must be able to be rapidly modified to suit the issue. Where it is written rapidly to modify, it is said these new threats highlighted the need to develop. Develop means you need to modify or make it change. Develop responses plan that are agile. You see, that are agile. Can be adapted. Can be. It is a modal verb. Can is a modal verb here. Adapted to known and unknown pathogens. Because any issue that you come, the plan what you make, it need not be only for known species, but it should adjust to anything that is coming in. Okay, so the answer is any plans must be able to rapidly modify to suit the issue. What you look for here? You look for the contrast, comparing, synonyms, all these things you look for. So I have highlighted some of those which I identified. However, only recent, new, agile, can, adapt. Knowing all this, it led me to the answer as answer A. Okay, that's why you also need to master the skills of skimming and scanning and identifying the clues, and knowing the structure of the paragraph will definitely will help you. So do not be confused or do not feel frustrated. Why am I not able to achieve desired score? Practice the strategies that I tell you today, and definitely you will score what you want to score. Now let's move on. To the 13th question. The writer uses the word roadmap to illustrate that the National Framework for Communicable Disease Control. You see here, the writer uses, and the word is given in the inverted comma, and it is bold. You know, that is referring to something. Fine. So now he is referring this roadmap to something. For what? You read the Qta method, you apply. You read the question. Now you read the text. Well coordinated with international responses, the CD Plan, Emergency Response Plan for Communicable Disease Incidents of National Significance, released in September 2016, provides a national framework for a primary response to outbreaks for which there is no pre-existing disease-specific plan. This plan is supported by the National Framework for Communicable Disease Control, a roadmap. See, roadmap to improve national information sharing and facilitate a coordinated response to events of public health importance. I have taken it, time phrase, that is time expression, that is 2016, taken the, what is that called, a reference, this, and I've taken the synonym like facilitate a coordinated response is nothing but, it is a guiding you somewhere. So answer is A, because my dear friends, you know, roadmap that we use to locate something. Without going to the answers, without going to the text, it's 100% clear that roadmap is the one which guides us how to go about. Okay, the answer is you are aware, but to just clarify, you go to the text here. Okay, so the roadmap is a guide. Why? They say that this roadmap provides or facilitates a coordinated response to events of public health importance. I think I have made clear so far what I have dealt it. Now coming to the last question in part C. The writer quotes Louis Pasteur in the final paragraph to say that. Apply the Qta method now. You do it. When you do it, you will learn better. So let's move on. Go to the text. Read the text. Yes, we are unable to predict when the next pandemic will occur or which new pathogen may appear. You see, when you read first sentence, you are getting a lot of things here as a clue. What are those? We, when, next, will, again new, which, may. You see, all the clues that I talked about in the beginning are there. But you don't expect all the time to have all type of clues. No. But you need to be aware what these clues are and why it is useful. Being aware of it, let's continue reading. Emphasizing that every country, you see, every must again, modal verb is there, well prepared. Australia has many pieces, see, many again. Many is what? I told you it's a scale of the plan in place. But you see the contrast here, but we must, you see the must modal verb, continue to fill gaps, test and refine existing system, and continually review what works to make sure we are as ready as possible for the next emerging infectious disease challenge. Louis Pasteur once said, you see, the name is there. I told you in the beginning, you need to look for name. You are looked for the name, that is Louis Pasteur. Once said, gentlemen, it is the microbes who will have the last word. This is Louis Pasteur's word, which is quoted by a writer. But what the writer want to tell, we need to ensure that he was wrong. You see, this was writer's opinion. Writer says that we need to ensure that he was wrong. That means microbes will not be taking over. So where do we find the answer here? We will be getting the answer in where? Come on, tell me. Yes, in B, where it says that we need to do everything we can to control disease. You see, such a simple. As you practice, it will become very simple. So I have highlighted some of the clues that I require. Those are will, next, new, may, every, must, many, but, once, last. Being knowing this, being understanding the meaning of the sentence, understanding the main idea of the para, I could land up with the answer B. So, my dear friend, it is not difficult to pass or to score what you need in OET. But I am here to guide you. Don't move around searching for the institutions which will give the correct idea. But we have a well-established, well-known, standard institute that is nothing other than EduSkills. We have OET training, IELTS training, and remember, this EduSkill is absolutely free. Students, the teacher, the mentor of EduSkill is most respected Father Saleen Joseph, who is a Cambridge certified teacher with advanced knowledge, with multiple experience of teaching more than 4,000, 5,000 students, being able to understand what is the need of the student, and it teaches to our level, it is definitely a wonderful bonus gift to us from heaven above. I definitely say I'm very grateful to Father Saleen Joseph for giving me the opportunity to bring out what I learned from your strategy. Being said that, I would say you need to subscribe, like and share, and try to enroll yourself in EduSkill, where you will get homely feeling, we feeling, and you are most respected without judgmental attitude, and you will get what every student desire to get. I guarantee you it is my privilege that I am here, and that same privilege I like to have you all to enter into EduSkill family. Having said this, I thank you all for patient listening. This video will bring some desire, some aspiration, or some motivation towards achieving OET. It's not too late. Register yourself in EduSkill. Thank you. If any queries, questions, we are here to answer your questions. So dear friends, don't be panic, don't hesitate, don't look around and waste time. Just enter into EduSkill family. We are there to guide you, to motivate you, and ultimately to see that you achieve what you want. But I use the contrast word here. But you need to be actively participating in our family so that you get what you deserve.